So after learning the previous section, let's just do a quick exercise to review something we learned earlier. So still, suppose you have 2 points A, 1, 1, and B, 2, 3. So how do you find the midpoints of A and B? C. How do you find the midpoints? We have the midpoint formula, which is x1 plus x2 over 2 and y1 plus y2 over 2. So we can just substitute the values inside the formula. So its x-coordinate would be 1 plus 2 over 2, which is 1.5. And its y-coordinate will be 3 plus 1 over 2, which is 2. And using the midpoint formula, we could find its midpoint. And the next question is, how do we find the length of AB? So with the modular sign, it means the length of AB. How do we find it? Still, you can use some simple geometry. We create two vertical bars here, and we connect them. So we find the length of AD is x2 minus x1, and the length of BD is y2 minus y1, so which is independently 1 and 2. So the length of AB would be 1 squared plus 2 squared, which is 5 to the power of 1/2. So this is called the distance formula. Let me write it out for review. So it's x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Why? Because x2 minus x1 is a horizontal distance, the base length, and y2 minus y1 is a vertical distance, the height. For example, 2 minus 1 is 1, and 3 minus 1 is 2. So we get 1 squared plus 2 squared to the power of 1/2 equals 5 to the power of 1/2. That's how we find the distance between 2 points. And now, with the midpoint formula and the distance formula, we can officially start talking about the equation of a circle. So for example, let me just draw a circle here. Given you a coordinate system, let me just draw a circle here. It's a circle, not an ellipse. Centered at somewhere. Let me just take the center in the origin. With a radius, so anything. The radius could be 2 or 3 or 4 or anything. To be simple, let me just make the radius as 1. So how do we express the equation of a circle? Its center is at the origin and the radius is 1. So what we're trying to figure out is the formula of the circle. Any points on the circle. It's not the center, it's only about its margin. So let's just take any point A on the circle with coordinates x and y. So for any point on this circle, the distance from A to the center is fixed, right? Because that's your definition. Its radius will always be 1. And how do we express this phenomenon? The distance is 1. Let's still use the distance formula. So the distance of OA would be x minus O squared plus y minus O squared to the power of 1/2 equals to its radius. So it will be x squared plus y squared equals 1. So what does this represent? It is the form of A or any point on the circle. Let me just visualize it by giving more values on it. So this is an equation we got from point A, but it can be applied with other points. When x is 0, obviously y is minus 1 or positive 1. So it correspondingly represents these 2 points. And when y is 0, x is 1 or minus 1, it means these 2 points. And I could substitute any value inside. Let me just substitute x equals 1/2. When I substitute it inside the equation, I will get the value of y is 3 to the power 1/2 over 2 and minus or positive. So it means these 2 points. And as you can see, the more values I plug in, the more points I will get, and they will exactly lie on the circle. So now you can figure it out. X squared plus y squared equals 1 is actually the equation of a circle. And then think it back. How do I get it? I just draw the circle, and then I put the center from the origin and I made the radius 1. All I need to do is to set the coordinates of any point on the circle and express the distance x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared to the power of 1/2 equals 1, and then expand it out. It will be x squared plus y squared equals 1. So I use point A to symbolize any point on the circle. So it's a really great way. I just use one point with 2 variables to express the equations of a circle. It's a very common way. What if the center changes? Suppose given you another circle, the center is at 1, 1. And the radius, let me just say 2. So given you a circle and its center is at 1, 1, and the radius is 2. So how do I find the equation of this circle? So let me set any point or just one casual point on the circle as A. Its coordinates, let me set it as x, y. There is one fixed relationship I know, which is its distance. So let me express it. It will be x minus 1 squared plus y minus 1 squared to the power 1/2 equals its radius 2. So this is based on our distance formula. And let me just expand the indices. It will be x minus 1 squared plus y minus 1 squared equals 2 to the power of 2 squared, which is 4. So this is the equations of this circle. And let's just review. A circle centered as 0, 0 with radius r has equations like x squared plus y squared equal r squared. And the circle centered at AB, which has radius r, will have equations like x minus a squared plus y minus b squared equals r squared. And this comes from the fact that any point on a circle is at a fixed difference from the center. Let me just try another example using the formula. So you see x minus a squared plus y minus b squared equals r squared. So AB is its center and r is its radius. So given you a circle, its center is 5, 7 and its radius is 4. So the radius of this circle is x minus 5 squared plus y minus 7 squared equals 4 squared. And then it represents a circle centered at 5, 7 with radius 4. And let's just do it reversely. Given you another circle's equation, x minus 3 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals 20. So how to find its center and radius? So compared with the formula above, we can read it clearly that its center will be 3, 4. And its radius squared is 20, so its radius would be 20 to the power of 1/2. Then let me just simplify it. It will be 2 times 5 to the power of 1/2. So after learning the basics, we can do a harder problem. So given you a diameter of a circle, and we have known is that the coordinates of its diameter, A and B. So how do we find the equation of this circle? So we just given you 2 points, but I need you to find the equation of a circle. So let me just briefly mark the points on the x coordinates, A and B. So how do I find its equation? So still, because it's a diameter, after knowing the diameter, based on midpoint formula, I could get its midpoint C. So the midpoint formula is x1 plus x2 over 2 and y1 plus y2 over 2, which is 4 minus 8 over 2, 7 plus 7, 3 plus 7 over 2. So the midpoint of C would be minus 2, 5. So after knowing the midpoint of AB, which is the center, how do I find its radius? Well, the radius is easy. I could find the diameter and then divide by 2. I could get its radius. Or I could directly find the distance of AC, which represents its radius. Both ways work. Let me just try to figure out the length of AB. Based on the distance formula, it's x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So substitute the value inside, I will get the radius, the diameter as 4 times 10 to the power of 1/2. So its radius will be 10 to the power of 1/2. So after knowing its center and radius, I could have written the equations very clearly. So it's x plus 2 squared plus 5y minus 5 squared equals 2 to the power of 2 times 10 to the power 1/2 squared, which is 4 times 10 is 40. And so that's how I get the equations of the circle. By hand, that's not a beautiful one. Try this. So this is a circle that we are looking for. So let's just conclude it back. In order to find the equation of a circle, you definitely need to know its center, A, B, and its radius. Knowing the two things, you can know and do the equation of a circle. So let me just write it again. X minus A squared plus Y minus B squared is R squared. So practice it again. X minus 1 squared plus Y minus 2 squared equals 4. Read its center and radius. Its center would be 1, 2, and radius would be 2. And by the way, this is called the center radius form. Seeing this form, we can directly read its center and radius directly. And then let's expand the brackets out to get its general form. We expand the brackets, which will be x squared minus 2x plus 1 plus y squared minus 4x plus 4 equals 4. And we could rearrange it to get and simplify it to get x squared plus y squared minus 2x minus 4y plus 1 is 0. And this is called its general form. So what if you're given a general form? How do you find the center and radius? So you see, the most important thing you need to do is just to find the brackets back. So next time, given you a general form, all you need to do is to use the completing the square method to find the radius and center. Remember, completing the square, what we have learned in parabolas, solving the quadratic equations. So try to complete the square during this question. X squared plus y squared minus 14x plus 16y minus 12 equals 0. And then you can group x and y terms independently. So it's x squared minus 14x and plus y squared plus 16y and minus 12 equals 0. How do we complete the square here? So still you need to review. X squared minus 2ax. In order to make the bracket, we have to plus a squared minus a squared, because only by this way, this part can be rewritten as x minus a squared minus a squared. So this method is called completing the square. And here we need to plus 7 squared and minus 7 squared, and for y we need to plus a squared and minus a squared. So you see this part and this part can be rewritten as the squared form, which is x minus 7 squared plus y plus 8 squared, and then we conclude those constants together, minus 7 squared and minus 8 squared minus 12 equals 0. So it will be x minus 7 squared plus y plus 8 squared equals 12 plus 64 plus 49, which is 125. So after using completing the square, this method, we will read its center as 7 minus 8, and the radius would be 15, because 15 squared is 125. So you see, that's the reason why I emphasized before, the method of completing the square is rather important, because we need to use it again, solving the equations of a circle. And this is a very general question. Given you a general form of equation, you need to turn it back to find its radius and center. So I think this is everything today, and I need you to review everything we learned because it's very important. Let me just help you a little bit. First, giving you 2 points, you need to be able to find its center, find its midpoint, which is the midpoint formula, and you should also find the distance of it. So it's x1 minus x2 squared plus y1 minus x2 squared. And finally, we use the midpoint formula and the distance formula to deduce its equation of a circle, x minus a squared plus y minus b squared equal to its radius squared. This is called its center radius form. And given you a general form, x squared plus y squared plus ax plus bx equals c, you need to be able to convert it back into the center radius form. And this is everything today. And I hope you can focus on knowledge we learn and review them. So see you next class.